The establishing shot of this trailer is a close-up of a car dial with the sound motif of revving over the top. This gives the introduction of the crime genre and foreshadows the action which is to come, which captivates the audience, especially typically males that like the vehicular, the cars, that aspect of the thriller genre. After a brief blackout, there was the Paramount Titles, which is a well-known media institution. As this is a well-known media institution, people will understand the money and time and knowledge that has gone into this film, as experts only work with this company, showing that it's worth their time, and from this point they know that this film is going to be good. This long shot panning movement across the city landscape shows the location and intrigues them, because films that are set in a big city often tend to be intense and full of action. They've also chosen to shoot this scene during sunrise, which gives natural lighting but also a slightly dusky vibe, which makes the atmosphere calm. In terms of Todorov's narrative theory, this establishes the equilibrium which will soon be disrupted if it follows the structure. It then dissolves into a close-up of James Barr, who is the patient lying in the hospital bed, as you can see. He has dried blood on his face, a plaster across his nose, and looks very ill. This suggests that he has been hurt rather badly and intrigues the audience as to what has happened to him, but also gives a sense of action. Furthermore, he is looking past the camera, which gives a sense of wonder and intrigue as to who he may be talking to. As he begins to narrate over the following shots, he introduces the hero in terms of props character roles theory.
There's this guy. He's the kind of cop.
These short duration shots using jump cuts shows a close-up of a scar, a close-up of his chest whilst he is putting on a floral shirt, and an over-the-shoulder shot in the mirror, which shows the location of perhaps a changing room due to the clothing hooks on the wall. As I said, the narration carries over to these shots, which suggests that this is the protagonist, which introduces the key role in a thriller. The scar on his chest suggests action and suggests that he has been in many fights, violent ones by the looks of it for a scar of that size. Also, the shot of his abdominals shows that he has a strong physique, showing that he must be powerful and strong and dominant. However, the juxtaposition of his floral shirt with these other features suggests that he might be a little bit misunderstood and more outgoing than so far made out to be. However, the fact that we have not yet seen his face, the most we have seen is of his lower body and the back of his head, shows that he is in hiding, perhaps a mysterious character, which intrigues the audience, especially as the protagonist is the key role and we don't actually know who he is yet.
At least he used to be.
This over-the-shoulder shot as Jack Reacher walks towards the pawn shop suggests dishonest and suspicious behaviour. These are qualities more of a villain, which makes us a little bit confused about what his role actually is. I think that the media institution that produced this trailer have done this to use implicit and subtle ways to deepen the understanding of this character, as he is a very confusing character as he has many different sides of him. There is also a non-diegetic low-pitch beat which intensifies the atmosphere and makes us wonder what he is doing.
He doesn't care about proof.
This use of a jump cut shows that he did in fact go into the store, and the high key lighting shows that he is not scared of doing suspicious things in public. This shows that he is a strong and confident character, and as the narration is soon to say, he cares about what is right and not the law.
He doesn't care about the law. He only cares about what's right.
The long shot of the police cars is a juxtaposition against the narrative, suggesting that he does go against the law, and that he is not your typical protagonist that tends to normally be a member of the FBI or the police or of a big authority.
He knows what I did.
That point of view shot showing the people running away suggests that there is a sense of danger and a sense of action which will show the audience that there is that adrenaline rush within the film which will intrigue them, as people tend to seek out the feeling of adrenaline.
You can't protect me. No one can.
The close-up of his hand on the gear stick and then the close-up of his feet on the pedals shows the speed and the adrenaline, which are key emotions in the thriller genre. But the increase in volume in the score and the more aggression that the narrator puts into his voice shows how intense this scene is. Especially as it's set in a car, this will intrigue the audience, again specifically the males. The camera then zooms into this mid-shot of Jack Reacher in the car, which highlights the speed of which he is travelling. It also highlights the intensity of the action, especially as his facial expression is determined, stern, showing that he is strong-minded and wants to be the hero. This will appeal to a male audience, as they'll see him as a role model, see him as a masculine character who they want to relate to. This is, of course, a stereotype. This might appeal to the female gaze, especially as it is Tom Cruise. The soundtrack also starts. This non-diegetic score helps to build up the tension, which obviously is important in the thriller genre, and puts the audience on edge as they want to know what he is after. As I said, Tom Cruise might appeal to the female gaze, but having his name flash on screen on a dark lit background will appeal to the established fan base around him, therefore widening the audience that this trailer is appealing to. Also, the inclusion of the name of the Hollywood star that is starring in this film is a marketing strategy, as it shows that the film is of a certain standard. Tom Cruise is also associated with action films such as Mission Impossible, so the audience will begin to understand what kind of film this is. This is important as people will watch a trailer to see if it is the kind of film that they find appealing, so it is important to show them the emotions and the genre throughout. Also, Tom Cruise will appeal to younger and older audiences due to the array of films that he has done, the casting team will have done this to widen the audience to which the film will appeal to, as people will want to go and see it if it has got Tom Cruise in it.
You think I'm a hero? I am not a hero.
The panning movement showing the woman walking across the bedroom could also suggest why the age rating is a 15, as this shows some nudity which people may find is inappropriate for younger viewers. These long shots with short-term ellipsis shows that Jack Reacher is aggressive and violent as he is in this big fight, which does look brutal. However, we do not know anything about the villain, so we can only assume that this is who he is fighting with. Not knowing who the villain is adds a sense of mystery, as we want to know why he's done what he has, what he's done, as that is all left unknown. The violence shown could also suggest why the age rating is a 15 again, but they need to show the audience some of this violence to make them understand what the film is about, as some people may be turned off by the inclusion of violence. Some could say that this reveals the ending, as we can see that Jack Reacher wins in the end, but we can probably assume this due to the narrative theories that I have spoken about, and there is still a lot left to be found out, even if we do know that Jack Reacher does win. The representation of Jack Reacher as a strong and powerful character will appeal to the female gaze, as they will find this an attractive quality, but also to the male gaze, as they like to see the violence and the authority of their own gender.
If you're smart, that scares you.
The location of the quarry shows that it is empty and quiet, which adds to the suspenseful atmosphere, but the use of pathetic fallacy, as it is raining, also shows the struggle and intensity of the fights that Jack Reacher has, highlighting his dominance and the power that he has. Also, throughout the fight, and a lot of other fights during the trailer, there's low-key lighting, as it is shot at night, with filler lights such as street lamps to brighten it slightly. This is mysterious, as bad things are stereotypically done at night, but this adds to the tension, but also makes some parts unclear, as you can maybe not necessarily make out what is happening, but that sense and fear of the unknown will intrigue some viewers. This long shot of the helicopter acts as a narrative enigma, in this case an action code, showing again the genre, but also the audience will use their contextual knowledge of other films to create a narrative around just this shot. This will appeal typically to males, again due to the inclusion of vehicular aspects, but it also shows that there is the adrenaline and the tension built.
Because I have nothing to lose.
It is important that people know what the film is actually called, but this trailer does it through the use of a black screen with Jack Reacher written and a digital light shining from behind the letters. There are many connotations of this, such as the idea that Jack Reacher is the one that will bring justice and shed light onto who the villain is and what he wants. But it's important to know who the protagonist is, and by telling us the title, this tells us the name of the protagonist. The score's tempo also speeds up, which again has connotations such as the idea that Jack Reacher is the one who brings the action to the film, and the audience will therefore root to him as they want to see the film for the action. The fact that the audience will begin to root for his character causes them to build a emotional connection with the character, therefore captivating them and making them want to see the film even more. The fact that this film is also based on a book, also called Jack Reacher, will attract a guaranteed audience, as people who enjoyed the books will probably want to see their favourite book in a movie format.
Remember, you wanted this. Really?
This low-angle shot of Jack Reacher shows his power and his status and his influence on the narrative. This is done through the way that the camera causes the audience to look up at him. These are all qualities of a protagonist, again suggesting that this is who he is and the type of character that he is made out to be. It is also the first time that we hear the protagonist speak, which make his words memorable, and they are the ones that will stay in the audience's mind even after the trailer has finished. The music also is in time with his punches, which shows the power and strength that he puts behind them, highlighting the aggressive and violent nature of this film. He has also stood with a masculine stance, which shows his broad shoulders but also his authority, and gives the audience a lasting and mighty impression of his character, which is important because people will want to see him as he is made out to be this amazing hero. It is important that the audience know when the film is going to be out, so that they can look for the actual release of the film. So having December on screen clearly and for a long duration will do this and make the audience memorable, whereas if they don't know when it's going to be out, they'll just forget about it, as they'll write it off as just another film.